Let's call this Police Commission meeting to order. It's October 21st, 2020. First order on the agenda is the minutes from a previous meeting of September 16th. Any additions, corrections?
None here.
Okay.
None here.
David. All right, I had in C on page 2, Jennifer.
Yes.
On page 2 in C, under the Smith Ridge Road Bridge work. And it's about the 1, 2. That's the end of that second sentence.
Okay.
To delay the project until next spring of 2021, as opposed to until late spring, because there's no date on that. So it's sort of, late spring when. So I was just saying till next spring of 2021. Just to clarify that. And then the last sentence, the same thing, by a vote of 3-0.
Late spring.
Yeah, and just say until, or until spring of 2021.
Okay.
Do we want it to say late spring of 2021?
We can, because I think we were trying to get it to be late spring so that when school was out. If that
Right.
was, so late spring, yeah, late spring would be great. Late spring of 2021.
Okay, you got it.
Thank you. Okay, Chief. All right. With those changes, vote to approve the minutes. A second.
Second.
And
Approve.
Shiva?
Aye.
Okay. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Department monthly reports, Chief. You are muted.
You're muted, Leon.
First report I have is our budget.
There we go. Yep.
And
Now we can hear
We
you.
should be at 24.99. We're at 26.10. But a portion of that is related to our full-time salary line, which we didn't fully fund after discussions with our CFO, because we did a vacancy analysis and determined that historically we see a number of vacancies in an annual year. So we did short that by about 140,000. So, but
Okay.
I think overall our budget will be fine.
And it's
Typically,
also- Yeah, this part of the year, a lot of that stuff is also front loaded too with
yeah,
cleaning
Typically, we're-
supplies.
we're around
Yeah,
just
all that
under
stuff.
2%
Yep.
overage every year, so we should be fine.
Okay.
Next budget I have is animal control, and that's right on track at 24.20. No concerns there.
Okay.
Next report I have is monthly statistics. So I'll just point out highlight some items. Family dispute 31 versus 37, so that's down somewhat. Overall, false alarms and justifiable alarms are down substantially, so that's good news. We're not handling as many false alarms as we typically would. Larceny from vehicle 36 versus 14, so that's a pretty significant increase. As you saw, we had another vehicle stolen the other day and about 40 mailboxes entered. So these criminals continue to come through town in the middle of the night and look for opportunities. So we're hoping that our residents just don't leave valuables in cars, lock their cars, and don't leave the keys in them, as we said multiple times. Also good news is overall accidents are down pretty substantially. I think that's related to the dramatic decrease in traffic that we saw due to COVID for multiple months. So 172 versus 293 property damage accidents and 21 versus 33 injury accidents. So that's a good trend. Another trend is psychiatric problems 40 versus 26. So that's a pretty good increase, and our officers are certainly doing a great job with our crisis intervention teams and dealing with people who have pretty profound behavioral health issues that we're trying to deal with as effectively as we can. Next item is stolen vehicles, 21 versus 9. So that's a big number. And all of those are keys in the vehicle unlock. So simple prevention would be just stop leaving your key in your vehicle and your car won't be stolen. And if you didn't notice, we did some distracted driving enforcement over the past couple of weeks. We got a grant from the state for $15,000, $5,000 we could spend in October, and another $10,000 we get to spend, I think, in March. So officers did make a substantial number of stops for distracted driving to cut down on cell phone use while they're driving, because we know how dangerous it is. So that was certainly a good effort.
Good.
Next report I have is domestic violence data. You can see 2020 is 31 totals versus 2019 is 35. And that's all broken down by month, whether children are involved, and a variety of other informational factors you can look at on that chart. Next report I have is extra duty aging. I did send an email to our CFO and asked what the plans were to try to collect some of this rather old debt, specifically the over 120, which is about 106,000, and collectively over 61 days, it's approximately $200,000, a little bit less than that. So once he provides an answer, I'll pass along to you folks, because certainly we should be collecting that money.
Right. Yeah, it's
next-
concentrated in a couple of names that.
It is.
Focus on.
There- There's a bulk there, yeah.
Right.
Next report I have is false alarm aging. Once again,
Just a quick question,
over.
a quick
Yes, Jim.
question, Chief, going back to the stolen vehicles.
Yep.
Of the 21, are they being recovered as in the past, where it appears that it was joyriding or use in maybe another crime, but then abandoned?
Yeah, the bulk are recovered relatively quickly. I'd say within several days of them being stolen. But there was a unique circumstance, I think, that we haven't seen before. Hartford Police couple of months ago made a bunch of arrests, and one of the cars that was there was from New Canaan, and it looked to be some kind of parts chop shop operation. So that's a unique, unusual development. But the vehicle just stolen from Valley Road over, I think it was Saturday or Sunday, was recovered in Stratford within a day. So that's the typical turnaround.
How is it that they're recovered so quickly?
I guess they're parked in areas that are unusual. Sometimes we get information about where the vehicle might be, whether it's OnStar or some other tracking device. But typically in the cities, Waterbury, Hartford, Bridgeport, there are areas where the vehicles are dumped, and the police check those frequently. Sometimes they get them on license plate readers that show up as stolen, and other times they just see the vehicle and it's out of place and it ends up being a stolen vehicle.
Okay, thanks.
So it's pretty rare. I think in the past 5 years, we've seen a small number that haven't ever been recovered. So
Right.
that's very unusual.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Then false alarm aging is the next report, and over 120 is $10,000 or so. So that's certainly concerning. And I did ask our CFO about that, and I'll relay his answer when I get that.
Okay.
Next report is our staffing report. So, right now we're fully staffed. So we're seeing our staffing levels better than they've been. And we right now only have one officer that's in field training, and no one's out for any other reason long-term. So that's certainly good news, and that's contributing to our good staffing levels. So we only saw lost time in September of 24.57, which previous same month, 2019 was 64.01, and then 18 September was 40.50. So that's certainly a dramatic decrease in lost time. And we're also seeing better than usual minimum shifts, depending on our staffing levels. So it's a good trend. No, only one officer's in field training, and actually right now there were 2 officers in field training in September. And then we have our SROs who are also off shift, so they don't contribute to our staffing complement and patrol. So that's what this is.
Right.
So all around good news.
Okay, great. Thank you. Next, topics for discussion under Parking Commission, safety concerns. And who's there from the Parking Commission? It looks like Pamela Crum is there. Hi, Pam. Chris, you're there?
Hi,
You're
Paul.
muted?
Chris
Hey,
is here
how are
too.
You too. Hey, Chris.
Having us.
Okay, we got your note, Chris, the other day on the safety issue with Elm Street crosswalks again. You want to go into that, or either one of you or both of you?
Right. So I'm not sure if the photographs. Yeah, I guess I
Yeah,
can
we
take.
got photographs
I can take
as
lead.
well.
Yeah. So I think this is a
Yeah, we got
relatively.
the Ferrari, yeah, the Ferrari sitting in the, not only the yellow lines, but also in the crosswalk, which is,
So I don't think this is a very complicated topic. I just think it's probably a topic I just wanted to raise from a mechanical jurisdiction concept. We at the Parking Commission have seen the best practice in other curb cut, bump out scenarios where you have non-parking zones for reasons of pedestrian visibility, that the town or the designers will go ahead and put bollards and or other blocking mechanisms into those locations such that the Ferrari can't park over a bollard, for example. And we've certainly ticketed these offenders, but if you spend any time in front of Dunkin' Donuts on a given day, you'll see that it's not much of a deterrent. So in reviewing this with Tiger and with Stacy, who's the head of the parking department, she and Tiger highlighted the fact that this is under the police commission's jurisdiction. So I guess I don't think I'm going out of turn with my colleagues in the parking commission to say that we would recommend, installing the planters that may have been there before, or some other function that is more permanent than a plastic cone.
We've
There is
seen,
a long-term plan to install curbing there, but that who knows how long that'll take.
we've been observing a lot of people parking in those areas, the no parking areas on either side of the crosswalk and into the crosswalk. Trucks, individuals, such that they are blocking visibility. They also are parking in crosswalks in front of fire hydrants. And unfortunately, we are not at full staff and cannot completely enforce those, which would be nice if the police could help us with that a bit. But our main concern at this point, the subject that was addressed, is the fact that there are trucks and individuals parking in those no parking areas and obstructing vision. And would love to have you reinstate the planters or whatever you're going to put in so that they will not be doing so.
okay. I see your hand up. Okay, go ahead.
Tucker, sorry if you couldn't see me. I agree. This is an ongoing problem. When my office was at the chamber, I was watching it all day, every day. The only thing I would caution you on is I don't think it's a good idea to bring those big planters that we used in the pop-up park to block cars, just because those are probably 4 feet high, and therefore you wouldn't necessarily see someone or a stroller or a child, and they couldn't see out either. So I think the idea of anything that we could come up with that's low or that would prevent cars from parking there would be useful.
Okay. John, I see you're on. John DeFederico, any thoughts on that as well?
Yeah, I know the concern that that Tiger has consistently brought up was something that's somewhat movable for snow removal when it,
Yeah.
we're going into the winter season. So you need something that can get out of the way when a snowstorm comes. What I might recommend to him is the plastic barricades that are up now for the dining, which is going to be ending November 12th, we could move some of those right into those locations. People are used to seeing them. They're not terribly unsightly, and they work. They're low enough where people can be seen when they're crossing the crosswalk. That those we could put, 5 or 6 of them there and really block off that area pretty well with those.
Okay, Pamela?
Yeah, one other issue I've been noticing is that the area by where the cafe is, and you have the protection, there's a wall, a little small wall, and there's still some no parking area showing. There are cars parking parallel to that in there. So you may have to make sure to cover all bases in that regard, because people are taking whatever inches they can.
I'm sorry, which cafe is that?
That's where the olive oil place used to
Cafe
be.
Dolce.
Oh, Dolce.
Oh.
Yeah, Dolce. Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
But remember, that will all, when November 12th, the end of November 12th, that will all come in. His fences and everything will come down. But you're right, people are parking alongside of there.
And if they put the barricades out there to keep them from not parking in there, you really need to get it out far enough that people don't decide to parallel park in
Right.
the no parking areas. What my thought process was.
Okay. Do we have any short planters as well that we could put in there in the inventory someplace?
We
Chris has
actually-
something to say.
Something that kind of looks a little nicer than just the white barriers?
Well, one idea I had that's just brainstorming here is if you go down to Waveney, the Lapham Road where you have the pullouts, what we've done down there, I don't know when it was instituted, but we put, sizable rocks to a varying degree that at least look a little more nice. And so I've seen those used in situations where you have, 1.5 foot rocks, which I think looks better than plastic, but anyways, an idea.
Actually, I just had a great idea along those lines, Chris. Just last week, we took down all of the hanging baskets because we put up the scarecrows on the lampposts.
Right.
We saved the hanging baskets. They do sit flat. We saved them. They're still in really good shape. And we were thinking, gosh, there's something that we could use them for the next couple of weeks. They were still doing so well. So we could always check with Tiger. You could do a cluster, circles of those. We've got, I think, 100 of them. So you could put, clusters of them in a couple of these problematic spaces and it would look nice.
Right, and they would be low, right? So you could see over them, of course.
But they would serve the same purpose as a rock,
Yeah,
something like that.
I understand, yeah.
One
Pam?
other consideration, if you want to have something more long-term, is possibly could you install bollards in there that don't go terribly deep, but then you can put a plug in when you need to fill up the road. But then they could sit in there and then they just are blocking, individual places. It's not a big area, but make it that it's difficult to park there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Tiger looked at that.
He
Yeah,
did.
I think we need a longer term solution. I don't think we're going to have it right at this moment, but
Mhm.
to address a short term solution that's kind of cheap and easy.
Right.
I think the white barriers are probably the easiest and quickest solution, and sprinkle some of those planters in there as well. I mean, it could be, right, a barrier and then some flowers and then a barrier, right? And then a whole
Mhm.
strip just to sort of break it up a little. And they don't have to be all connected. You just have to have, I think, enough so that a car can't pull in there. But yet you can walk around them and, I don't know, any other thoughts here? Hey, Tucker, on November, is it 12th?
Last day is November 12th.
All right, so, and the weather will get cold by then, and people will not want to eat outside, right?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I fully support the November 12th. I've been sitting with Jen and Lynn
Okay.
talking about this on a daily basis, but there are a lot of communities. I don't know if you saw the Stanford Advocate, the big pushes for BYOB, bring your own blanket. People still want to eat outside, but it's just the sidewalk. outside dining that will come inside. People that are lucky enough, restaurants that are lucky enough to have a patio that they can put people at outside can still do it if they get the permissions, but it's the sidewalk cafes that will come in. Yes.
Okay.
And
Remind me,
it's-
why do we need to end it on the 12th of November?
Well, first of all, that's when the governor's orders end on this. Some of the towns did opt to extend through the end of the year. And then after looking at it, excuse me, pulled back. Greenwich, for one, had said they were doing it through the end of the year and then pulled back. You know, the snow will fly. The Tiger can't wait for a snowstorm to be coming and have to take all of those barricades off the streets. I know it's going to come back to bite us. I know we're going to have a couple of really nice days in November and December, and everyone's going to be upset that we're not letting them eat outside. But this decision was made we had several conversations. We had a Zoom call with all of the restaurants, and it was agreed upon that this was the best way to proceed.
The restaurants agreed?
Most of them, I mean, there are some that are going to lose all of their outdoor dining, but what Jen from the health department was really promoting for them to do was to take those resources, because they were looking at tents and heaters and all of that, and take those resources and really outfit the inside of their restaurants to be able to accommodate more people inside. I mean, you can go to 75% right now anyway, inside. And as I say, some of the restaurants that have outdoor areas will still be able to serve outside. It was just, we can't have the sidewalks and the roads obstructed.
Okay. So, all right. So there's nothing we can really do the next couple of weeks, right? Because we got to kind of wait till November 12th to free up some barriers.
Mhm.
Right. So, John DeFederico, then after November 12th, does it make sense to move some of those barriers and some of the planters? I don't know what's going to be in those planters, because we're going to have frost and stuff. Is there going to be any live?
Tiger's just emailing me. I just asked him and he said they're probably not going to look great much longer.
Right, because they're just all our stuff is dead except for mums.
Yeah.
Our house, and I don't really think we need to go out and spend a lot of money on mums that are going to be dead in a month anyway with some frost and stuff. So I guess, hey John, then is it appropriate then to possibly just move some barriers in there? Not then we don't need the wall, but just to
No, yeah, we could space them out just to prohibit cars parking there. We'll use the minimal amount necessary to accomplish the goal. And Tiger may even have a few extras. I forget how many he ordered, but he may have some extras on hand, and we could get them out sooner rather than later. But definitely by November 12th, we could do it.
Okay. And then we should have a discussion later, not tonight, but a discussion with the parking commission, John, and with you and with Tiger as to, a more permanent solution to this, whether it's a bump out, whether it's a ballards, whatever the solution is going to be for next spring, next summer. And it's not just a COVID thing. It's the mandates that we've been forced to live under, right? And we want to address a couple of those crosswalks later as well. So, all right. So, Jim Shikeva, what do you think?
Yeah, why don't we make a motion to approve moving of some of the barriers?
Okay.
So
Tiger
moved.
just texted me that he has some available now.
Okay, so if he has some available now, and if he would work with John DeFederico to install them in intermediate spots, I think that would work. So let's have a motion for that. Jim?
So moved.
I second.
Second. So the motion is to have Tiger install on a temporary basis, until snow comes, et cetera. Those white plastic barriers in the areas near Dunkin' Donuts and Dolce. That's the biggest area, right, Chris and Pamela?
I
That's
would say so.
That's the biggest problem area that's your biggest area of concern, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is the biggest area.
And yeah, the only other area that occasionally comes up is the sidewalk in front of Starbucks that has no curb.
Right.
We run into that issue, but that's kind of a different topic. So yeah, this is great. Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay.
the other place, but it doesn't call for a barrier, is the people that park in the loading zone across the crosswalk into Elm Street. The trucks. You
That,
can't do anything about that.
yeah, that's just more enforcement, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so the motion is then to put those white barriers sprinkled around that area by Dunkin' Donuts, Dolce, as a temporary solution to this problem, okay? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's 3-0. Okay. Got that, Jennifer? Parking Commission, you okay?
Thank you.
Thank
Got
you.
it.
Thanks for your concern. Thanks for bringing this to our attention. And Tucker, did we lose you for a minute? Okay. Next item.
I'll just gonna excuse myself. Thank you. Appreciate
Okay,
it.
no, thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Chris.
You can stay.
Got dinner to attend to, so.
I go to. Thank you.
Okay, bye. Next topic is the New Canaan Bookstore Library event. And who's addressing that? Melissa?
Hi, I'm the co-manager of the Elm Street Bookstore, and we are coordinating an event through an author named Jeff Kinney through his publisher. And they're doing this event at 20 stores from Washington, D.C. to New Hampshire. Same format. They have an event company that is setting up these tents. They're doing them at school parking lots in different locations, but we want to do ours at the center school parking lot because I just thought at this point in time for me to try to coordinate something with the schools was going to be next to impossible. But I spoke to Patricia, who is the person who organized the farmers market scenario this summer when they did the drive-through. This is a totally drive-through event, just like the farmers market situation. And I sent you map that she had done. And we would have originally in the proposal that I had sent, I had asked for Maple Street to be closed. But since the conversation I had with Lieutenant Ferraro, I think his name was,
Yeah.
he said that based on his experience, that he thought that wasn't going to be an issue and that we should keep Maple Street open. And I have hired through him one police officer who would be standing so that the people would enter from Main Street up Maple and then go through the library. And that would be where all the cars would sort of be the waiting area. And there would be a police officer standing there to sort of stop any traffic that was coming on Maple so that the cars could cross over the street. There are the tickets. The tickets are people are being given time slots to come in. The event is taking place between 5 and 7. All of the tents that will be in the parking lot have their own generator and own lighting. The event company would need to come in that morning to set it up. So I've taken over pretty much most of the parking lot, but I've left the parking lot area that is sort of in that little area that's kind of next to the condos and has an entrance. It's a one-way entrance on South Avenue, but I thought maybe it could be a two-way entrance that day. And that parking lot would be coned off, and we have cones, and to allow for the traffic flow to go around that large island where the tents are. And so that's kind of the gist of it. So, fire away.
Okay. First of all, I am so excited. My kids love these books and I love the books. So can I still register?
Yes, you can.
Perfect.
We have, there are we can take 250 cars.
Okay.
That's the max. And we're as of this afternoon at 3:00, we were at 200. So yep, there's still room.
Perfect. And then the second question I had, I noticed that there's there's a check-in tent, and then the different tents are numbered. And then there is, it says drive-through tent, and then actually and then there's the author's tent. So, what are the other tents for?
So there, I mean, I didn't send you their schematic,
Mhm.
but basically they are trying to do these. One tent is going to be like a lifeguard tent, with the idea being that when people check in, they would be given something like a ball to lean out of the car window and throw, and a lifeguard, like there would be something that would fall into the water. And then there's another, they haven't really been, they're supposed to be socially distant interactive tents.
Got
And
you.
they're talking
Okay.
about one having like it's a story about a family taking a vacation, and a pool figures into it, and it's called the Deep End. So all of these tents are going to have a pool-like theme. And then one of the tents, the big tent at the end, is actually it's going to have an 8-foot clearance, and it's going to look like you are driving through the underneath of a pool. There'll be mats above you and people's legs hanging down, fake people's legs. And so you will drive through that. And then the last tent where the author is, it's going to look, the author will be sitting on a diving board with a pool skimmer, which is how he will be passing the books to people. So yeah, I
So-
think I over answered, but
Sorry. So the books are pre-ordered ahead of time. So when you come up, it's just signed and handed to you.
correct. Well, it's handed
Gotcha.
you by a skimmer.
Yeah.
And we will know how many books. But then the other thing the publisher has requested is that we sell what's known as backlist books. So the earlier Wimpy Kid books. And so I will have it. So this is where it gets a little wacky, but we did walk it out. So there's a table that says books. So what we would do is, if people wanted to buy books, they would kind of go to the left, and then people who wanted to exit the parking lot would go to the right, and we would cone it as such. So the end of the thing would be people getting their book from the author. But if people wanted to buy books from Elm Street Books, we would be standing there selling these books. And frankly, I would have preferred not to do that, but that was kind of a deal breaker on the part of the publisher to do that. So
Gotcha.
that, yeah, so they will be able to purchase books at that point, and he will have signed every single one of the books.
Okay, so you purchase it ahead of time.
Well, not the books for the event. Yes, the event is a ticketed event that includes one book, but you had the option to purchase more of just the new book.
Gotcha.
Any other
Okay.
book you have to purchase that night from us as you leave, or you can come to the bookstore the next day. But I mean, whatever,
Perfect.
we'll have, yeah.
Sorry, one last question.
Sure.
So I've got the whole entire collection. I'm not going to be bringing it in, handing to him to sign and give
No,
it back to me.
No, and that's actually in the that's in the bylaws or the rules that the library, I asked them to put that in there. It says you cannot bring your own books from
Perfect.
home for him to sign. Yeah, it's just,
Perfect.
he does not want to be touching anybody or near
Absolutely.
anybody.
Yeah.
It's all going to be distant, and they will have a photographer there, and they will take a picture of him, 6 feet away from the car with the skimmer, and everybody can go online afterwards and get their picture. But everybody stays in the car. Nobody gets out of the car.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Sure. Is that it?
No,
No?
no, there's always more. It's not
Okay.
that easy. Come on.
I know. I'm so nervous. Never done this
Don't be
before.
nervous. No, don't be nervous.
Okay.
How many cars are, well, let me back up. You need the lot to prepare this at what time? When would they start setting it up?
Well, they asked for 6 hours in advance, and the event starts at 5 o'clock.
All right, so then are we closing that half of the parking lot, if it is half or so, for the whole day, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Because if somebody comes in and parks who hasn't passed for there and does not know that this event's going on, they may just come in and park at 7 in the morning and
Yeah,
come
we
back
can't.
to their car at 5 in the afternoon.
No, yeah, no. We want the whole thing the whole day so that
Right.
nobody does that.
So how do we get that word out to people who park there every day?
Well, we can, Chamber of Commerce, and we can make signs, I guess, using, I know that Patricia said that the farmer's market had some signage that perhaps we could create signs and put them there just to let people know that, there's going to be no parking on November 5th. New Canaanite, I mean, whatever means that we can get. Tucker disappeared, so she may have other ideas on how, also the other, I don't know how many commuters there are in the New Canaan Moms Facebook page, but that's certainly another good way to get the information out. We can, the library can start letting people know that. I guess it's basically the town workers who have been yelled at to park there, and now they're parking there, and now they're going to be yelled at to not park there on that day. So I understand that's a bit of an issue, but it is just one day.
Okay, but how many spaces do you need?
Well, this is the thing. What we're trying to do is allow for traffic flow for all these cars to be able to sort of stop and pause. And so that is why I wanted the entire parking lot without just that little parking lot space. Do you have the picture?
I do.
Okay, so you see this. So where it says 83, 85, 90, 93. So beyond, that's the whole space that the town would still have to park in, but the rest of it I would like to take over.
Okay. John, any thoughts on this?
Yeah,
John,
Paul, we could use the variable message sign that's out in front of the police department now looking for cert signups. We can put that out a few days before. Then we can also cone off some spots that the spots that they want to use. We could certainly make it work. And I think I saw Stacy responded to an email on this and said that it wouldn't be a problem. She said that lot doesn't get heavily used, so
okay.
she felt that we could definitely make the adjustment and make it work.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
My concern is that somebody who normally shows up, they've got an office in town, they usually park there, and they show up at 7 a.m, and they don't know that your event's on because they don't follow New Canaan Moms or anything, and they just go.
What?
Yeah, well.
Yeah. No, we could have the lot coned off and then spaces coned off at
The
6
night
a.m. or 5 a.m. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
All
no
right.
problem.
Thank you.
And then the other thing, Tucker, you're all aware of this, right? Are you the new town planner?
Yes,
well?
I handled the special event, but that's when I advised her that she had to come to you. The real reason that she was coming to you was because they thought they were going to close Maple Street, but yes, Stacy has signed off on this as well, at parking.
Okay, and the usual questions on insurance and all that stuff you've got covered, right?
All been submitted, yep.
Okay, and then it looks as though you're coming in on Maple Street from Main Street and South Avenue with Maple Street?
No. I think the instructions from the library are going to be to come in. It'll be too crazy, wacky, scary on South Avenue just to come in. Not that everybody pays attention to directions, but that they will be given the instructions to come through the Main Street entrance up towards, that way, whatever, if that's south or north, and then go through the library, not South Avenue. I don't think they should go through South Avenue at all.
Okay.
I think, yeah.
And then I'm looking at the other chart or the other photo, looks like from above. And it looks like there's a lot of empty spaces near the condos and a lot of the spaces.
The
Yeah.
empty spaces near the condos are for you.
I know, but let me finish. So if you take all the cars that are there in this photo and sort of slide them there for the day, it should pretty much work, I would think,
Okay.
right?
Yes, I hope.
All right.
I mean, that's not my.
Yeah, okay. Other questions? All right, look, I certainly am in favor of encouraging and helping our local merchants and on things like this, especially in these times. I think it's, an interesting idea and it should work pretty well, I would think, especially with everything sort of timed and queued up, right? You're not gonna have 250 cars all descend at the same time.
No, we're not.
So it should flow, in theory, it should flow pretty smoothly, and it's really a 5 to 7 event.
Yep.
I'm willing to, I'm supportive of this, and let's see how this works. And, it's not a, it's not a Friday,
No,
where
it's a
it might be more
Thursday.
crowded. It's a Thursday. It's not during the farmer's market, you're not disturbing them, and people are used to having events at that location, so.
And obviously, the library is totally on board with it because we're partnering together to do it. So
Yeah.
they'll take care of, their parking situation and getting the people who, because the library doesn't close till 5, so they'll need to get people out of there at a reasonable time because it'll start getting crowded.
Great, okay.
So,
All right, so on a motion to approve this event, we'll just call it that.
Move to approve the event as described in the event description sheet that we received.
Right. This is for November 5th from, the event is from 5 PM to 7 PM, but you would start the event early that morning. And we
correct.
the ability to do that and
Yes.
work with parking and work with John to get this accomplished. Okay.
Okay. So in terms of my next steps, Tucker, you need to sign off on this, or what do I do next?
Right, you and I will talk tomorrow. I'll sign the
Okay.
document, scan it back to you, and we'll be good to go.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you very much, everybody. I thank you. This is the Wimpy Kid. He thanks you. And I think everybody's really looking forward to it, and I really appreciate your time and your attention.
Okay,
So,
we still
thank you.
haven't had the vote yet.
We've
so-
got a motion on the
Oh,
table.
for heaven's sakes.
We need a second.
I second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
3-0 on that. Okay,
Yay.
all right, Melissa, now you
Yay,
go.
thank you. All right. Yay, thank you. Okay,
Well-
so, all right, so can I leave now?
Yes.
No, you're forced to stay and.
Thank you all very much.
No,
Bye.
thank you. Good luck with the event, seriously.
Thanks so much.
We wish you a
Appreciate
lot
it.
of success.
Bye-bye.
Okay,
Bye.
thanks. Item C, review of the roadway modification for outdoor dining. What is that?
I think that's
It's
just.
the one that you always tell me to put
I think
on
it's
every
our
month.
30-day, I think it's our
Oh,
30-day
that's right,
extension.
Thank you. Yeah.
But it's not going to be for the
I
full
didn't see it
30.
Written down, so I thought, where'd that come from?
Yeah, extended to November 12th, I believe.
Yeah. Okay, so we
End
need a
date.
motion to extend this to November 12th.
So moved.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Bye.
Okay.
Thank you.
And just as a footnote, I think the Congregational Church is now off the agenda because they're now going indoors.
Right.
So
That was
we
my
don't-
understanding. It was only through October, but if you hear any different, let me know.
I think
No,
I think,
we picked up the barricades. They're all done.
great,
Oh, thanks, John.
great.
Yep. I did receive a call from somebody from there the other day. They wanted to do, I forget what day. He didn't have specifics. They wanted to do trunk or treating on one Sunday from 3 to 5 PM. I don't have the details on it yet, but I told them that that's been discouraged from the state guidelines for Halloween events. So I told them to reevaluate and get back to me. But as far as their services are concerned, those are all in the tent and off the road, and the road's back open on Sunday.
Great, okay. Thank you. D, Smith Ridge Road Culvert Project Update.
There's just a letter there.
Yeah, I saw that, yep.
Yeah. And I believe they've agreed to push that work off.
They did, okay. And we haven't heard anything from the residents, so, okay.
Nope.
Sounds good. Building renovation update?
Yeah, I'm hopeful that we get our building committee together. I know Kevin's working on it because we had 2 recent issues with mold growing on some files in an interior office on the main floor. That's been expensive to correct. And we also had our second boiler fail. And I understand they're in the process of taking that apart and rebuilding it. I'm not sure what the cost will be on that, but certainly points to the need for a renovation considering these issues that are unusual, that are
Right.
popping up and very expensive to correct.
Leon, we also had some recent plumbing issues where some toilets were overflowing because of the old plumbing system. That's a reoccurring event, and
Right.
offices got flooded as a result.
Right.
Were the toilets upstairs, first floor, second floor?
Main floor.
Main floor.
Goes
Yep.
right down to downstairs. Nice. Okay. I did speak with a an individual who has been asked to be on the committee. I spoke with him the other day. He's all excited about it and is ready to get going. He'd be perfect. I don't want to throw his name out there, but it would work real well. And I talked with Kevin last night, and he's got another member circled up, and he wants to talk to one more person. I think he's talking to one more person tomorrow, Thursday, to get him on the committee as well. So, and I will talk with Kevin certainly on Friday morning.
Excellent.
Again.
And again, please.
And again, yet again. Okay, letters of appreciation, Chief.
Sure. One of the favorite aspects of the meeting, certainly. So the first letter is from the owner of the mobile station to Sergeant Gannon. She remarked that while he was there, he bought food and drinks for a homeless woman. And she said the gesture warmed her heart, and it should be recognized considering the time of unsettlement that we're in. So nice work there by Sergeant Gannon. Next letter is for Officer Blank. Gentleman misplaced his wallet, and Officer Blank helped him recollect where it might have been. So I think it made him feel well served by our officer and helped relieve his anxiety over losing his wallet. So that's certainly a nice letter there. Next, thank you email is from Captain Walsh to me, but highlights the work of Officer Anna Maria Cece, Lieutenant Ferengo, Officer Adams, Officer Vartuli, and Captain Walsh, and also Bethany Zaro and Enza Albano from our Health Human Services Department. They did a food pantry fundraiser and a breast cancer awareness event at Acme, and they brought in a whole lot of groceries to needy folks in our town and resupplied the food pantry. And they also raised a fair amount of money, and I think we're well over $1,000 right now. So when we conclude that, we're gonna provide that to the Smilo Breast Cancer Health Center and Norwalk Hospital to add to their services so they can help people that are less fortunate than we are. So that's certainly both nice efforts to help those in need.
Great job. Great.
Next note is from Lieutenant D. Felice to Officer Swindon, Bentley, Lopez, Coughlin, and Rizzatelli regarding the Jim Martin Memorial Cops and Robbers Tournament, and just thanking them for their efforts and the good work they did in participating in that event, and the cause of our fallen officer, Officer Martin, who passed away in 1991 from being electrocuted during a severe winter storm. So in his memory, this event is held every year. So that's certainly a nice thing that no one has forgotten his how he served the town. Next note is for Officer Obando, a gentleman, seemingly minor incident about a barking dog, called. Officer Obando showed up, and he felt well served enough to send a very nice, thoughtful note. And he ends it by saying, "Please pass on our sincere gratitude to your officers for improving our quality of life tonight. We feel that we have moved into a wonderful town." So that's certainly nice to hear how well our officers serve the community. And the next note I have is from Lieutenant Ferenga, and it's highlighting Officer Rivera's work. He stopped a vehicle and ultimately discovered that the criminals that were in that vehicle had extensive criminal histories, and they had some stolen mail, and they were arrested for that. So that's certainly good work there by Officer Rivera. And the last note I have is for Officer Falbo, when he helped a gentleman, and certainly this individual was very happy that Officer Falbo could help him with the issue that he had, and was grateful enough to send a very nice, thankful note. That's all I have for letters of appreciation.
Very good. And now for the Perkin shoot memos.
Yes. So highlighting during our animal qualification The Commissioner's Award is Sergeant Aaron LaTourette with 399 and Lieutenant Mark DeFelice with a 392. So certainly great work and marksmanship by those officers. And they were able to garner these awards that we give out annually for exceptional marksmanship.
Just as an aside, in some of those insight bulletins were pretty interesting.
Yeah,
for
they are.
updates, in regarding, guidance regarding the new, the concerning police accountability. So I would encourage us to just get through those. It actually was good reading. Thank you. Thanks for sending those along.
course.
And I had a question. What's a Terry stop?
Terry stop is based on a
Terry versus Ohio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Related to the ability to stop someone and search them if you believe they're armed.
That's what I didn't know.
Yep.
And any other matters, any other old business to discuss? No, we don't.
No.
Okay, any other new business?
Nope.
I have none. Okay, let's go into executive session. I need a motion to go into executive session at 6:51.
So moved.
I approve.
Okay, let me just pause the recording.
All right. Motion, second. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Since out of executive session at 6:58, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Everybody.
Bye.
Bye.